The first time I saw Melinda was at a camping trip. My sister went to school out there, so she knew a bunch of folks out there. So the congregation was gonna have a camping trip, and so she invited me and a couple of our friends from down here. So we go up there, and I saw Melinda for the first time.
We were at Lopez Lake, saw him from a distance, but at the time I was with another person and I was also with friends, so it's kind of like, oh, there's, you know, a few guys there, but didn't really talk to them. And it wasn't until I moved down here for college, I knew his sister, and so she picked me up from school at UCSD, and we were going to eat at Callahan's.
So we went to dinner one time, and we were standing around just talking, and I made it a point to ask Melinda directly how school was going, because that's what you ask new students that go to UCSD. And that's kind of how we started talking, and that's how we became friends. So we would go to dinner basically every week, and every time I'd get to know her more and more. And I wasn't being the cool silent type. I was actually talking to her, so that's probably how she got to know me a little bit better. So October 4th was when the engagement happened, and we took a family trip. I was actually with her family to New York. I basically planned out different checkpoints for her to get to, and at each checkpoint I had planned certain people. So at the park, there was this portion that was close. There was this, a garden, I guess, that was close to where we were staying, and so that's where I decided to do it. And I had my sister who lived out there help plan kind of a route. So what I did was I prepared a set of envelopes, 6, I believe, to be exact, that had a message, that had a card and a message and a map.
And that day we had planned to attend church in the morning, and then after it was just going to be a day of shopping, like downtown and everything. And then after we had planned a trip to see a Broadway musical. But as I was getting ready that morning, it was almost time to leave for church to call the cabs and everything. And my sister comes in. She has an envelope in her hand. She also has a camcorder in her hand. And she says, Gino wants me to give this to you. And at that moment I'm kind of like, what is going down? Because I love New York City, and I spent so many hours and so many weeks just planning this moment. And, it's like, surprise, it kind of just, anyway.
And she loves The Amazing Race, and that's kind of what I was going for. She'd get an envelope, she'd get a new clue, and a little map to follow. So she had checkpoints to go to. So, and the first one was, I actually had one of my sister's friends that neither of us knew at the time to meet her at the first checkpoint and basically say, hey, are you Melinda? And hand her the first envelope, because I thought it'd be pretty cool. And she'd be like, oh, how did he do this? How did he know?
We had walked there was a person standing there. I couldn't tell because she was under an umbrella, but it happened to be Gino's sister. And she too had an envelope, and we were just walking to different pit stops in Central Park. And each part along the way I met another family member and picked them up, and we started walking together. I met my brother-in-law at pit stop number 4. And then I met my future mother-in-law, Gino's mom, at pit stop number 5. And I got really emotional because she lives in Seattle, so I wasn't expecting her at all. And then at pit stop number 6, I saw my parents sitting outside a gate, the entrance of a garden. And so I was with my family, and I was with my extended family, and we went to enter in the garden, and Gino was standing in the middle of a rose garden right next to a pond.
So when she got there, I, for the life of me, forgot like all the words. Like of all the the wordiness that I've had in my life, like none of it showed up that day. In the box, when I was trying to get it out of my jacket, it was pouring, so like it kept slipping in my pocket, and so I couldn't bring the ring out for a little bit. But I was nervous. But it all worked out in the end. We didn't know, I didn't plan for it to be super rainy, but in it being super rainy, there was nobody there. It was just us and our family. Like it was the only people, that we cared about, that was there to share the moment. And so I think it was perfect for Melinda and for us, basically, because she wasn't embarrassed or anything, and it wasn't anything that, it was something that only we could share.
What really made me attracted to him was that he's a cheesy person. Like he's like the jokester in our group of friends, and he just likes to make people laugh. And even though he's really cheesy and corny at times, you just can't help but kind of like crack a smile or just laugh. He's very patient. I'm not the easiest person to deal with. I have my ups and downs, and I can get really crazy at times, but he definitely keeps me grounded, and he's very patient with me.
There's a lot of little things I actually love about Melinda. There's just little things like that aren't even, they don't probably mean anything to anyone. Like when we're sitting down, like her mannerisms, like the way she wiggles her toes when we're just sitting around watching TV, or the way she could just fall asleep instantly the moment a movie comes on, which means something, because back before, early in our relationship, I had her watch all these movies with me, and it means so much now, because knowing how easily she falls asleep now, it was a big deal that she was able to watch all those movies with me. Like, I guess she was really trying to impress me back then. But now she's much more comfortable, so she just falls asleep instantly. And I love how active she is in the church. She's very active, and she gets a lot of it from her mom. But that's something I really value in her. And she's shy about it, but one of the things that I love most about Melinda is the way she prays. It just means so much, and it always feels so heartfelt when she prays. So I always delight in having prayers with her, even though she's shy.
A special message I want to say to Gino is just thank you. Thank you for just the last 7.5 years, and just for being with me and putting up with me, and just for making me so happy. And I just feel so blessed to have you in my life. So just thank you for everything that you've done, and for being so patient with me and so loving, and yeah, so loving all these years. So thank you.
Melinda, man, this feels like the proposal all over again. Yeah, I'm at such a loss for words. But I just wanted to let you know that I love you so much. I can't even describe how much. Like, when I stop to think about it, I can't imagine my life without you anymore. It's been 7 years, but it literally feels like such a short time. It feels like a blink of an eye that I can't imagine spending the rest of my life, like going through the rest of what's to come without you. And I'd really be at a loss without you. You mean so much to me. You've been so patient with me, especially thinking about the times, just going back in memory, like when I was in your intramural volleyball team, and I thought I was good, but I was so bad. But you were so patient, and just that shows a lot. And I want to thank you for being patient with me, even though I'm such a goofball a lot of the time. You've really helped me to grow into a better person and a better man for you, and I hope that I always live up to that, because you definitely deserve it. And thank you for basically being there for me. And I guess one last thing is just know that everything's going to be okay. I remember telling your mom back when I first asked permission, I was just reassuring her, like, you know, everything's going to be okay. She's going to finish school. And I guess it's kind of the same thing that I wanted to tell you, that everything's going to be okay. I think as long as we have each other and as long as we love each other, I think we're going to be fine. You know, and as long as we continue to pray to God. And I know that won't be a problem for us. So, I love you.